Dr. Sridhara, over to
Yes,
you.
ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you. Thanks to everyone. And thank you, VC sir and Dr. Girish sir. Thanks to all the directors and deans also. First of all, let me just pick up what is the achievement that we could do in this lockout period from ASET. We have published 55 Scopus Index papers, and ICT papers are about 63. 19 chapters have been published in some of the prestigious publications. We have submitted 81 papers, including Scopus and ICT, which are yet to be published, And project granted is one of 43 lakh. And we submitted 20 projects, including FIST of 3 crore. And we have we have submitted around 25 projects, patents. And we conducted one FDP for 15 days long in collaboration with IIT Bombay. And we have also conducted webinars of about 15. Out of that, 10 are completely from technical background and 5 are from industry. And today I'll be going to speak about a small introduction on FDP and learning management system. So I'll start up now, and I request all the participants here to please note on a few things if required, but these material will also be available for all of you. Okay, this is the FDP and learning management system. And I need to actually take up a little more to start with the small introduction part of it. So I take something like small definitions, like teaching refers to the act of transfer of knowledge and skills from teacher to others. All of us know it. Just to brush it up. And what is an ICT? Basically, ICT means information communication technology. Information is a collection of processed data. So the data will be raw usually. And when you process them in a particular format, it becomes information. The communication is a process of dissemination of information, and technology goes to mode of media through which the information is conveyed. And now because of the vision of our authorities in Amity, actually, without any boundaries, we could actually switch over from offline classes to online classes, and our ICT was very, very strong. We have already used it, but now actually what we are going to concentrate through our FDP is how do we sharpen our skills on it. So the teaching and ICT, I've just taken one of the cartoon here to show that it will be a combination of both blackboard teaching, what you call, as well as teaching using or the learning using technology as well. Now there are technological advancements which we need to be always upgrade ourselves. So with the advancement of technology, the tools and techniques become obsolete within a short period. I've just collected a few of the cartoons to make you not get bored. So you can also read it and then enjoy. There's a teacher here who is teaching the kids, and these kids are all, of course, this is a very old one. You see that box type of, the computers here. Now everybody is using tabs or laptops. The teacher is announcing, due to recent technological advancements, everything I taught you about the computer is no longer valid. I think all of you understand the irony in it. So you become obsolete the moment actually you deliver it. That means every time you need to actually pick it up yourself and then keep learning something new. That's the whole, the gist which I just wanted to make you understand. And now, what are the components of ICT? ICT involves many electronic appliances and related processes such as computer, mobile. We have satellite communication also coming into picture, video conferencing, etc. Now, suppose if you look at a teacher and you see that I think all of us are being using here. So the digital tools for the classroom may include tabs and whatnot, including pencil, notebook, and PVC ma'am just referred that she's having a notebook there next to her, and then she is copying everything. And usually I also do it, but I'm very good in swapping my mobile screen. So I keep swapping on my notepad and immediately starts typing, of course, with some small errors, which I need to correct it later. And this is how actually we can start using the technology as well. But of course, nothing can actually beat writing in the notebook. Your handwriting will be good and you will write exactly what you want. And now if you look at this particular picture, you see the kids are actually using all ICT tools here. So ICT is fast expanding and it's in very easy reach for kids as well. So I think we cannot actually shy away from using ICT in our own things. Now there is one more thing actually, one more cartoon. I think you see a lot of cartoons in the beginning. I need to attract you people because it's a long journey and you need to also have little fresh mind. The teacher is telling here, the syllabus this year has the following apps. I think little irony, you instead of teaching what is actual thing, now we need to teach apps as well. And of course, without that, I think you will come to end of my class that why this type of training becomes very, very essential, and how we can actually improve our efficiency towards delivering with the use of ICT and proper use of ICT. VC sir also mentioned that it is just not delivery through technology, but amalgamation of technology to have a better experience. That's what we are going to learn at the end of this FDP as well. And what is the role of ICT in education? So if you look at that, distance learning via electronic media, so this is what already we are experiencing now. And it is going to be student-centric learning with open sources, because so many things are available for the students now. Now they don't depend completely on the teachers itself. And in fact, they learn better than teachers, or they would have already learned better than teachers. And it is going to be student-centric learning. I'll tell you one thing more than going a little further. When I say student-centric, the students are now at the position of choosing something which is good for them, which is actually also feel that okay, this is good for them and also a little attractive. Now the condition with the teacher is how I can make my teaching very attractive, very effective, so the student will not move away or will not be completely disturbed during my class, is the one which is really a challenging one. And then change of teaching learning process with the help of technological advancements. This I think PVC ma'am already mentioned, and VC sir also mentioned, and of course Girish sir also mentioned about it. We need to actually change the process of actually teaching learning itself. The pedagogy itself has to be changed. And these are actually taken from one of the paper which was published in 2009 in the Eurasia Journal of Mathematics, Science and Technology. They have studied actually a lot of review papers, and they came out with one review of what are the barriers for implementation of ICT in education. I find it very interesting. I will take only a few points from there, and let us also see that how this can be countered also. First one is resistance to change. This is there with students as well as the faculty as well as with the school management itself. The resistance to change is a one which we usually find is a major drawback or a major barrier for the implementation of ICT in education. And then lack of training, and that is where actually the vision of the authorities will come into picture, and as well as our urge to get trained also comes into picture. Because we are not trained properly, maybe most of us are not trained properly, that's also a bigger barrier. We may not be exploring all the possibilities of ICT, and therefore it becomes an ineffective way of use of ICT. Then the lack of time, because many people, including students, management, teachers, everybody is involved in many activities. We may not be able to slice proper time for everything, including education, learning, etc., and so on. All of us know that whenever you go to an industry, usually, especially in the case of software industries, every time, maybe in 6 months, they will have a new project, and they need to actually go for training, learn something, immediately go to the level of delivering something, and again the technology has changed, learn something. And then also we have few more, the lack of access and lack of continued technical support. Even today they are all valid, and I beg to differ with our VC sir that the resistance to change I have seen in my own way, in my own school, maybe a small part, not very this thing. Also in the campus, when we actually started introducing LMS, it nearly took more than 12 months actually to understand the people that this is very important. I think the vision of the authorities of this particular university was very high. They started this about like 7-8 months earlier, but actually when it became a lockout, then we understood actually what is the importance of it. We had a series of training programs done here, and that is the one thing which actually I just wanted to put it. And even this 2009 paper which I am mentioning is also mentioned even today in 2020 paper. I have a reference which I'll be taking the citation also. And these are small cartoons again. The resistance to change, somebody has invented the wheel, no wheels here, and no new technology. Usually this happens. I mean, this is inherent. Anyway, then lack of training. I'll just take one more cartoon here. The new guy is telling here, though we assume that everybody knows everything, he's asking the trainer there, okay, now which one is a big saw? Maybe this is too actually critical to say something, but this is usually what happens with a new guy, that unless we give a proper training, they will not be able to open up themselves very fast, and they will not become useful to us. And then the lack of time. Of course, every one of us actually are busy with so many activities and all that. And therefore, the time slicing will be very, very important for us. And lack of access. A few of our students are also actually telling, who are in the remote villages, they are unable to access the internet itself. And a few people actually are in the remote area. They say that we don't have even 2G also, and it's a very small number anyway. So the lack of access, this is also to be seen, like what ICT tool would be beneficial to reach even those people. See, for example, there are something which you can download whenever the signal is there with the 2G itself, and then start learning. This is the reason why I just take it up this also. And then we also say the continued technical support. Of course, actually, I'm seeing that as soon as the lockout was created and declared, our IT team, became very, very active, more than what they could do. And I see there is a WhatsApp group, and whatever the problem that is being posed by our people who are in the campus, off the campus, they're actively, remotely accessing it and then immediately taking it out also. I'm really appreciating this particular one, but not in other universities, you will be having this type of technical support as well. Now the remedies, actually, this has been discussed, the remedies has been discussed by one of the student of that particular one, and also the people who did in the France. This is 2020 paper. This is what I am telling people, which is very basic. They will start answering these questions. What is the remedy for this? Remedy for the schools, training in the new pedagogical approaches you should do in the school. This is what we are trying to do here. Remedy for the teachers, being open-minded towards the new pedagogy. Now, this particular, the study which has been conducted in France and at higher education as well as secondary schools, both together, they came out with this particular theory. I mean, through the observation, how do we overcome the resistance? And this is the way actually the school and teachers should be targeting on it. And then lack of training is the one. Remedy for schools is methodical training in new pedagogy and technological advancements. That's what we are trying to do now in this. And similarly, remedy for teachers is self-training, organized training, influence training, and so on. This is influence training. Basically, somebody is learning, I will also learn. And there is a peer learning with what VC sir has also mentioned earlier. The peer learning is very, very important. Most of us I see in the campus and outside also, they are sharing across through the email, also WhatsApp. How do we operate this? How do we do this, etc., and so on. So this is the remedy for teachers in overcoming the lack of training. And again, lack of time. For the schools, providing sufficient time, reducing the number of teacher lessons, and also increasing the contact hours is going to be very, very important for the schools to be taken up. And remedy for teachers is acquiring skills of time management. The time slicing is very important for all of us. All of us are involved in many things, and especially in Amity University, after I come here, I see that we need the reports to be generated within a very short time, and which is to be also very precise and in a professional manner. This is really, really challenging, but I think all of us have already learned about this. How do we actually make a time management? Thanks to the authorities and also to the ambience created here. And then lack of access. This is one thing actually cannot be done in a few cases. Providing required ICT tools, hardware and software is the one which actually has to be taken care for the schools, but the people during lockdown, it is very, very difficult to reach the students out. But there is some remedy for the teachers, which actually these researchers say in 2020 January paper, utilizing resources at school and maximizing the resources at home. In fact, this was published in January. I'm surprised to see they say maximizing the resources at home. I think they had a vision that, it is not possible to go and acquire everything in the school, and therefore you need to do something. Now this has become more realistic. So the study which is done, published in 2020, actually study is done in 2018 to 19. They have scanned many things, and this is the outcome they are giving out of it. And then lack of technical support. I already mentioned that for the remedy for the schools is robust technical support to be provided. And remedy for teachers, once again, they say self-reliance to solve smaller technical hitches and accessing available external technical support whenever required. This is also very essential. I see that some people, some of our faculty mentioned that their laptop is crashed, and remotely I could see that our technical team, took charge of this particular one and then completely repaired the entire thing, and they gave it back. I think it's a wonderful system, what I could see. And I see that in the WhatsApp group, nearly about 3 to 4 hours, even the complex situations are actually solved out. So the lack of technical support is maybe a major barrier, but I think we don't have such barriers here. Now I just took something like teachers multitasking, and I took this particular picture where I got many cartoons wherein the teacher is actually not happy, doing many things, sweating and all. But I saw here, this is really fantastic. The teacher is happy, smiley, and also, sipping a cup of tea or coffee or whatever it is, and doing many things. I think this is the type of mindset we need to have, and then go ahead also. I can have small interaction here and then go to the LMS. If anybody wants to ask some questions quickly, either through the the LMS, this chat box, or through orally, I'll just interact, and then I'll go to the higher version of LMS part actually where VC sir was telling you should go to the technical level, I'm going to touch upon that now. Any questions in this, please?
But don't you think that this multitasking is actually not giving due consideration to an individual work? If I'm concentrating on one work, I should be concentrating on that rather than multitasking. That divides the mental makeup, and probably you're not doing the best in each field.
Yeah, it is very true, sir. When we actually slice the time and concentration and also the limited resources, definitely the efficiencies in other things go down. But actually multitasking becomes a sort of, essential thing at emergencies like this. For example, I was told that, I've also seen that usually the ladies are very good in multitasking. They do many things, especially in the family and all that. But even, administrators also do a lot of multitasking. I could see our VCs are actually doing research, also, writing papers and, giving webinars. And I could see PVC ma'am actually doing a lot of book writing as well as and so on. Multitasking sometimes is required actually apart from this.
The point raised by General Sharma is important, especially in the law faculty. Remain concentrated on your law and jurisprudence, but at the same time, multitasking here would in fact mean that rather than simply concentrating on teaching in the class, you have to be looking at your movements in profession and how things are moving, in fact, outside the classroom, and trying to integrate a whole lot of development there. And therefore, as a practicing attorney, also a role is required, a practicing professional, a very high eminence in jurisprudence is required, apart from very effective teacher assimilating the whole lot of knowledge to the classroom. So that's multitasking. Multitasking also means that you are managing your work activity to the best of your ability, employing the modern tools of decision making, modern tools of management into the real life. And multitasking also means maintaining good humor and good relationship so that we all remain cheerful. So this is what I think it means. But you are allowed to ship coffee, etc. In America, they take coffee inside the classroom, students also, but not in India. Here we are a little bit tough. We don't want to take coffee in the classroom nor want anybody else to, because we want them to be tuned to our lectures. But take it in that spirit, but we are not driving you away from your domain knowledge. That's very, very important, because domain ultimately matters.
I didn't find any questions here. I'll move on to the next session if there are no questions from the chat box.
Which I wanted to make, I was looking at all the HOIs as they are connected to this development program. I found that Dr. Rajendra Prasad appears to be most innovative, although he has run away now. He's there. His background is showing actually as if he is in Goa, though he is in Gurgaon. Now, this is the kind of innovation one would require. Now, a person is using his ICT tools very well, giving us the impression that the sea beach is there on the back, a little bit of biotechnology in the form of that beautiful green tea behind him is there, and he's smiling. Now look at this. This is called the innovative skill, which I think your slide you mentioned. You did not mention that one of the layer of multitasking should be innovativeness in plenty.
Sir, I'm
Dr. Madhukar is also doing the same thing.
Madhukar also created.
I'm branding Amity.
Yes.
Instead of showing a Goa background.
But I think Dr. Rajendra Prasad scores on top of everybody, showing us Goa beach and beautiful tree, and still smiling, sitting in Gurgaon. So this, I hope you are still at Gurgaon, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, not flown to some meeting in Goa.
I am in Gurgaon.
Huh?
I am in Gurgaon.
You are in
Gurgaon.
You are in
Gurgaon.
So this is the advantage of ICT. One can see you could be here, but be showing yourself on top of the Himalayas.
Sir, this Zoom and the MS Office has introduced a new feature of virtual background. So
Right.
whole virtual background can be used, and you are not required to, find a place which is very clean in your house.
But
there is one problem. Actually, I tried this before coming. I'll show you one of them. You could see there are a lot of disturbances. I took actually the image of Amity. Could you see that? A part of that is completely invisible for me.
Yeah.
And similarly, I took the green.
Dr. One second, I just thought, because today we have a very short time frame and we don't want to kind of interrupt you, so that we can at least cover this part. before you go ahead, actually the business school, Dr. Vikas, I had forgotten to ask you to say something, but I think we will go with this flow. So this was a basic introduction, but today I think all our faculty are keenly waiting that later on we'll be splitting them into 30 batches where they will be doing hands-on the LMS. So today, please complete this in this next 1 hour so that, you know, they are ready for the next level. So Dr. Sridhar, I would request you that after this introduction, please.
Just half an hour, ma'am. Just half an hour. Just half an hour more. I will just finish it off.
Right.
Now I'll come to the learning management system. And usually the learning management system is used for, these are the things which actually all of us are using partly, and few of them are not completely. For example, the repository of learning material. So whatever the material we create, we can actually make a repository of it. And there is one advantage with that is anybody who actually would like to share the material which has been created by him or her with others can be easily made. And because it is already made a repository, it's very easy to pull it also. The repository actually could include your lessons, the PPTs which you mentioned, the question bank, and you can pull anything you like it. Now it will also be very easy for delivery of contents because repositories are there, and then we can actually pull some of these repository and then make a delivery as well. Then we have monitoring the learning by the students. This is where the learning analytics comes, and VC sir was mentioning about artificial intelligence. And our LMS actually is—
Dr. Sridhar, your voice is sometimes going, so you can be with your closer to the mic. Dr. Sridhar.
Yes.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's fine. Sometimes your voice is becoming very low.
Maybe I will wear this, so I think it will be much clearer now. So what I was mentioning is monitoring the learning by students is completely by artificial intelligence, which I'm going to show you a little later that how this is going to help us in terms of, like understanding whether the students are going through your lessons or not. And there is an artificial intelligence which says that by the pattern of the student accessing your lessons, that what could be the result even before even giving the questions papers or, conducting an assessment. This is up to that level we have already gone, and that is actually implemented in LMS. Probably in the next cycle, we are going to teach you that how do you use these artificial intelligence tools to even, make a learning analysis as well. These are called learning assessment and learning analytics. Next is analyzing the teacher's efficacy and reach with the students. This is again coupled with artificial intelligence, which we are going to demo maybe in the next cycle. How actually, how much, teacher's efficacy is actually identified by the type of the repository he has made, the type of, the questions he has framed, and similarly, the way actually he is communicating with the students, and as well as how often actually he's answering the questions to the students, etc., and so on. So this immediately says that whether the teacher efficacy is good or some improvement is required, and what is his reach or her reach with the students. Then the evaluation of learning by the students, of course, it comes under the same thing. See, for example, you are delivered one particular session, you wanted to know exactly how much of them have learned. So there are flags which you can actually ask the students to flag to understand, or put a quick quiz and then find out whether the learning is good or bad, etc., and so on. This is another advantage for the teacher to know and go with satisfaction that after the class, yes, I have done something better. Then we have the use of learner analytics to combination of all this to estimate the student's performance well before the assessment. This I was telling is a very, very fantastic tool. And this actually, I saw the first assessment was done by Open University UK when I was associated with Open University UK, interaction with some of the professors there. They have done a lot of good work in this, and I'm happy to see that this part is already implemented in our LMS with our Amity University also, a small part of it anyway. Then what are the top open sources of LMS? We have Moodle, Chamilo, OpenEDX, Totora Learn, Canvas, and many other things are there, in particular this one. Amity has launched the learning management system called ALMS to support teaching and learning initiatives for a better interface and flow of learning materials as well. And this is actually very, very useful. I will give a small demo today, but I mean, only because I'll just take about 5-10 minutes to show what are the possibilities we can do with LMS. The later things will be conducted by my team who was actually, working from past 1 week to create the content to make it easy to go through everyone. And also to, we also have small exercises in between. We'll be giving the exercises for all of you so that you can learn there, and then also we will assess your learning through this particular system itself. And what are the major features of ALMS we have? We can actually have recorded video lectures and quizzes. I'll show you some examples of some of us which we have done already. So the recorded video lectures are there, means actually you can start, teaching using your pen and paper and then record it and then upload it. That is one thing. Similarly, you can take the video lectures from NTPL, other sources where there will be animations, etc. and so on. It will have quizzes as well. So you can stop the video lecture in between, take the quiz and go. Then posting content, uploading files. This is a very easy method. There are assessments involved in it. Announcements can be made so that it immediately goes to that particular email ID. And if they are connected with the phone, it goes as a message as well. There is a grade center, which actually looks at the total result analysis and then put the grade. And similarly, there are discussion boards where we can actually create a virtual classroom with a discussion board. So one of the students can post it, others can answer, the peer learning may happen, or the teacher actually come in between, and also the teacher can also put it across. This discussion board is very, very interesting. I find it very, very useful, especially with the students who are open-minded to put their resources and questions openly and then do that. And what is a recorded video lecture with the quizzes we have? A short video lecture and open source reference material covering the conceptual background of the subjects created and shared by the faculty can be taken here. I can show here one of the video lecture which was created by one faculty from Rajasthan, Amity University, would be actually shared by us. And I'll just show that how this particular type of sharing is possible, and how do you actually also restrain so that your material can also be confidentially be kept, or to be kept targeting a particular class also, so that it will not become a ocean for others to search through. And students can view before the class session, and the class time can be devoted towards the case study, exercises, projects, and discussions, and so on. So this is one more possibility that what we can do with EALMS, what we are going to learn here. Posting content and uploading files, I think it's very clear. They can upload and all that. What are the usual things which you can usually we upload? Syllabus, presentations, files, images, URLs, videos, and all that. I have found some of the faculty members have actually uploaded URLs for some of the very good journal papers as an additional reading. Usually URLs we try to give, like maybe animation URLs or video URLs or something interesting, class URLs and all. But I saw some of my faculty members have given the URLs for the papers, and these papers, if you can just click, they were very, very intensive and also very up for that particular one. These are the things which you can do in this. You can also do announcements when you are going to have the test, etc. When you want to have a class, when you want to have an open discussion, etc. and so on. So this is another advantage with that. And announcements can contain text, images, multimedia, as well as it can be linked to the course content, assignments, and tests. See, for example, today I'm going to deliver one session. Immediately I can make a pop-up at the end that assignment will be given, and assignment can open up at that particular time, and tests also can be given at that particular time. I will tell you the advantage of using this LMS is, see, for example, A.K. Yadav sir was telling actually that they have already developed about 100 questions in each question paper. They can put it as a repository, and this can be kept hiding. And whenever they want to create a quiz program, maybe about 30 marks question, they can pull on random basis also. It need not be exactly on the serial number basis. There is a random basis selection can be done. It will pick up all random questions, questions in random number, put them there, and you can time it out that, okay, tomorrow at 10 o'clock, I'm going to start this particular exam. Exactly at 10 o'clock, people can open it up. And we can say that 11 o'clock, it's going to close. We can give 2 minutes extra time there for the people to close it up, 2 or 5 minutes, whichever according to the authorities they decide, and immediately it closes. And every answer is already done into it. Now, this is the advantage of actually having this assignment. And similarly for the tests also, in fact, there is one more thing people will be asking that, can I actually type an equation and then put it into my, the quiz program? Yes, you can do that. There are advantages. There are many methods. One method, use the inbuilt equation editor, which is available with LMS. And if you find it is difficult, you type it in a different, maybe Word document or make a PDF or a, PPT, cut and paste that into that. Automatically, it becomes an image there, and the image will be seen as one of the, objective question there, and then you can put it across. The test can be actually short answer test also can be given. It need not be always. Girish sir was mentioning that it is very difficult. Suppose I say the student wrongly chooses a particular answer in a multiple choice question, though he knows the answer, maybe he's going to be penalized for that. But now if you look at the short one line answers, 2-line answers, this type of question paper also can be created and then uploaded. Even that is one advantage we have with this. And then the Grade Center is a built-in grade book for each course in EALMS. In fact, the Grade Center comes out with statistical the outcome of the entire grading which you have done. It's a very fantastic thing. It provides a place to store, manage, and calculate student grades, both on items such as assignments and tests that are created and graded. And as per some of the, the accreditation systems are looking for, you can immediately come out with what is the pass distribution, or the perfection distribution, or the distribution of the entire results. And similarly, what is its standard deviation, etc. Everything can be given, and it is very easy to do that in this particular LMS. It's all embedded in it. And then there are discussion boards, which I told already. Discussion board features allows participants to carry on discussions online at any time of the day or night, with no need for the participants to be logged onto the site at the same time. And therefore, they can actually, just like our WhatsApp, you can just put it there and somebody will see and somebody will answer. And whenever the answer is given, we can also send a message to the person that, okay, there is somebody who has answered for this. This is one more advantage with this. And then the discussions may be graded as well. If you want to actually see that, okay, I'm going to give you open-ended question. Now you have an open-ended, maybe it's something like what we do in the CRC. They conduct the meetings, and in the meetings, basically they say that we will see who will present what type of questions and who will actually answer for that. And in the group discussions type of things also can be done. They can be graded as well. And in fact, this grading can also be coupled to AI, artificial intelligence. And it actually helps the teachers, not that it will move away the teacher from grading himself or herself. It will actually give you, see, for example, a teacher may not be able to listen everything continuously, but it will be recorded here. And the AI will come into picture, and they say that who had a very good vocabulary, who had a better, the gestures, and who had very good, answers given, and who actually did not raise their voice or, became a little violent, etc. Everything will be there in AI. That part is to be explored maybe in the second cycle, not in this now. And faculty can add multiple discussion board forums in their course. See, for example, there is this actually I tried in one of my classes. What I did is there were some learners which actually required little more attention, extra attention, and they were hesitant to put their question in a particular room. So I made a separate room. I call it as a special room. So there anybody can walk in. I just made it that anybody can walk into that and then post the questions, maybe silliest question also, even if they have not attended the class, then there will be some answer given. So now there will be no hesitation for the students to do that. That is one part which you can actually make in this. Similarly, if I'm handling more than one classes, I can have multiple forums for each class as well. And I'll be just going through the demonstration if there are no questions in this, a small demo. Can I go for it?
Sure, sir.
Okay. Just a minute, I'll come out of the presentation. Just 1 minute. So this now I'm coming to Amazon directly. From the Amazon, we entered into the LMS. I think all of us know, so I don't show the path for it. Now this is my dashboard, which has been created and also used, not very efficiently used. I just wanted to show you some of those which is accessible to me now. I saw one machine design course here created by the other the people. This is from Rajasthan. And therefore, I could see actually, see there is a lecture 1. I think all of you could see there is a lecture 1 here, the introduction to machine design. There is a video. Now this video he has already uploaded as a complete video here. And there is one problem, as Dr. A.K. Yadav sir mentioned. The students, if they do not have a very good bandwidth, maybe it will take more time to actually download or to play. But if he had given the YouTube link here, the YouTube link will play very fast. Now you can see this. Could you hear the voice also? Huh?
Voice is not audible.
No voice. No voice.
No, it's not audible.
Okay, maybe I think that we need to make it. I think it is not audible. So this teacher actually, he is explaining everything on a white sheet here. So you could see that he is explaining everything in the white sheet by writing on the white sheet, and he's explaining. It's almost like a blackboard. And similarly, actually, he has also created, see, assignment machine design 1. He has created the machine design 1 assignment. So you can see the assignment question, like how he is going to give the assignment here. and it can be graded, and also it can be timed, etc. Our teachers are going to explain you on this. What is the use of brakes and clutch in the automobile? So this is a very simple memory-oriented question. Means at the lower level of your Bloom's taxonomy. So you can actually frame any question to the all levels of Bloom's here. It could be even open-ended question of high creativity. The answer could also, you can set it out that the answer can be a small paragraph or a long essay and so on. And if even in fact, you can give an opportunity for the students and access for the students to actually, write on a white sheet. Suppose it's a long paper and they want to draw the diagrams and all, and typing the diagrams here, drawing the diagrams on the computer is difficult. They can draw it on a white sheet, take a photograph, and then upload JPEG or the PDF of it. Even that is possible here. So there is an endless thing which you can work it. And exactly once you make a question paper, hide it so that nobody will be visible except yourself. And we need to take care that even the administrators also will not be able to look at it. And there are ways actually how you can hide it. Even the administrators also will not be accessible, will not be able to access your things. And this is one basic advantage of this. And there are quiz programs here. And for the quiz programs, you will be understanding that how the quiz programs can also be framed here and can be taken. See, what we suggest is instead of coming and typing the quiz program directly here, you should have made the quiz program in a Word format somewhere, keep it ready, and then cut and paste here. See, for example, there is one question and there are 4 choices or 4 multiple choices. Keep all of them ready. And then you come to LMS and copying will be much, much easier. And in that, basically, suppose you are using the equation or something like that, you type the equation also, but in sometime actually, see, for example, please solve the following equation, let me say, or the following, mathematical problem. Mathematical problem is full of equations. Now you try to copy that equation, sometimes it may not come if the access is not proper and the takeover is not proper. The best thing basically is you put them as an image, and then that image can be plugged in between the text also. So the text could be, please solve this or solve the following equation, and then the image is this. Or you can make the entire question as an image and then plug it into that. And now this can also be timed, like when the quiz should open. And as soon as this, they start, answering, the automatic evaluation can be given if you have the answer already, fed into this. You don't have to go and value it again. But maybe you need to cross-check once again after that, because if it is going to be a final exam, you should cross-check it. But if you have a ready-made answer, means the teacher will have a scheme also, solution and scheme both. So according to the scheme, you can upload the scheme and automatically it, evaluates everything and it will give you the result within no time. But please don't hurry up in announcing the results anywhere. Please listen to the authorities, and also we should go through the guidelines of the authorities on this. But what I suggest is, you can also segregate it, you can also activate this automatic, evaluation of the quiz program, only quiz program. There are actually some programs which can read the short answer and then also do with artificial intelligence, but that need not be used for the exam. And it is all not also, made possible to explore in ALMS at present. They are working at the back end with my discussion. I found that they're working at the back end. See, for example, you want to give a question paper, a question, and in the short answer, you are looking for some phrases there and some sort of your important words. This, the machine actually reads the entire answer, puts it into the artificial intelligence and tell. One small example I'll tell you. Suppose you want to book a hotel or, even go to our Amity admission center. As soon as you start searching for it, immediately there will be a pop-up window coming that, may I help you? And you type something, there is nobody at the other end, but it will read your language and it will say that what is the correct answer for it. Unless it becomes too difficult for it to handle, then only the person will come and intervene. So this is the way of artificial intelligence, which actually our VC sir were also mentioning. You should go to this level and then make it. This is what we will be doing here little later. But at present, the artificial intelligence is not there. Only we are going to have a set pattern and use this pattern, and then you can actually plug into it. So this is one thing which actually you can also use in the LMS. And now similarly, there's a topic 2, topic 3, and so on. Now this becomes very, very easy. If you want to hide the entire thing or make it accessible only to the students with their login, then this also you can make, which I think our teachers are going to teach you in the afternoon session and another 2-3 day session. You will have a very long session for this. So you can go through that one by one and all that. And this is very, very interesting and is very easy. And as VC sir also said, the kids are able to explore everything and we are actually learning little difficulty. Maybe our kids are exploring all possibilities in our mobile, but we take little more time, but actually once we learn, it's very, very easy to operate and then go through that. I think we should be, able to learn it very effectively. So this is what actually we can do. There are many other things which will be explored. It's coming another 5 minutes time is there for me. So what I will do is I'll have some time for discussions now. I will stop sharing this. So if there are any discussions, we'll go through the discussions and then I will come back to you again. Discussions, please. There are some reactions are there. We will like to know the details of FDP in the next coming days. Can we know what all the FDP be about? Basically, this FDP, as per the discussions we had with PVC ma'am, this is going to help you to prepare a question paper in objective form, also in the short form, and use LMS for the effective conduction of the examination. Beyond that, if you want to learn something, we will be giving you some sort of handouts which is ready. And also there is one handout which is already there, created by Dr. Dheeraj Upadhyaya, who actually taught us, or initially he trained the entire trainer team here. That is also a very good series of slides you can actually download and then start exploring yourself. It's very, very interesting. And how do we go about it? I'll tell you one thing. If possible, today itself we are going to start in the afternoon by about 2 o'clock, as per the discussions had with PVC ma'am and also the training team which we had. They are ready. Each team has got 36 members. Already we have formed the MS team, and probably you would have already got the message that you will be doing it. We have added the directors also to have a look at it and also to monitor the learning of their own people. So even directors are there, HOIs are also there. Small thing we should be able to learn also if required. Otherwise, actually you can actually monitor also. And there may be one more session which we can actually make it only for HOIs and directors. How do we monitor the activities in the LMS? That I think we will be planning in a short after this, we'll be doing it. And Sudeep Majumdar has written, discussion is very useful. I want some advices regarding conducting practicals through virtual tools. I think it is out of this particular one. I will not be taking. PVC ma'am and our VC sir is going to talk about it. Devra sir is telling, excellent FDP. I could not talk about initiatives and progress made by ACOST and ACECH, particularly during the lockdown period. I think PVC ma'am will consider this and permit him to speak about. So the AI system is such that the student might train himself or herself to track the system. This is Anirban Das. The person can also act to appear more favorable to the AI. Sir, this is actually what happens every time a new technology comes. There is always a fear with all of us that suppose I say if AI comes, the student can learn himself. So it's not possible. Our VCs are always keep telling Guru Parampara is very, very important. Without a Guru, nobody can learn anything. And the Guru need not be always a technology. Guru is always to be there. And all of us, including our chancellors, are also keeps telling you please integrate the technology to your teaching. Make the best use of technology to teach. So I don't agree that AI system will take away everything, but it's going to help us. The tool is going to help us, but the tool itself will not rule. You cannot allow it to rule also. It's not possible. And Shiv Puja Kori, Doctor, nice presentation on LMS. Can you show MCQ quiz? We are going to do that, Arun Biswas sir, in the afternoon session. Biswas sir is also there and Bansal is also there in all this team. You can actually learn from there also. Any other question? I can just take that. I will share one more screen here. This is regarding, there is a hyperlink here. This is in a PDF. Please check whether this hyperlink works for you. Go and click. Is it working?
No, it is not.
It is not working.
No.
What I will do, sir, I will share this through the email, and this link actually goes to the feedback.
This, Dakshita, you can share this to chat box even, and there I think we can copy and.
Oh yeah. What I will do is I'll share this in the chat box. Wait a minute. I have in the PD. Just a minute.
Dr. Padmakali, I was just wondering that in this program, because the entire faculty is connected along with the HOI, why not we sensitize them with one of the important responsibility we have on our shoulders, and that is about the examinations, online examinations, which we all need to conduct. A lot of attention need to be given to this aspect because time is running short, and we need to not only conduct examination for our final year, but also support our examination section in a manner that the students of the previous semesters, other than final year, their grading, etc. requirements are all completed. So it would be very much desirable to have some discussion, if you have time in this particular webinar, FDP, how you want to really serve the 2 or 3 very important aspects. First one is, as our own Honorable Chancellor has said, the mandate is to decide which are the subjects in which we will go for multiple choice question examination, which are the subjects in which we will go for which are the subjects in which we will go for open book examination. This decision is very crucial for final year before we start conducting the examination. And then once we say that these are the subjects for multiple choice questions, all those questions have to be very carefully made so that you are in a position to conduct the examination on Amazon for the multiple choice question. For the open book, of course, we will utilize one of the platform which will be assigned by the multi-central team for this purpose. This is a top priority requirement, and I would have thought that by today, you would have all made up your mind in this regard, which particular subjects.
They can see their MS team and they know which group they are into. Thank you.
Absolutely. Any other comments from anyone? I think I really thank each one of you from the bottom of my heart that you know how important your presence was today as head of the institution, as directors, and also motivate your faculty members. But nevertheless, we really appreciate your presence and we really need to make it happen. We are looking for a very successful journey of our end semester conduction of examination, taking care of the students, their well-being, at the same time, a good coming back on campus. So all the best to you and a great day ahead for each one of you. Thank you.
My last word, madam. Let them take up the link for feedback. Otherwise, after this, I think they will not be able to access the feedback.
Yeah, so I'm not going to close. We will exit. You stay remaining and you tell them to fill up the feedback form. So I think rest of the HOIs can go, and if they want to give us a feedback, they can be given. And definitely today was a beginning session, so there was more of conversation. You heard more of heads of the institution talking about you. But as we move on, now you will be going straight into the training modules. So to the faculty members, the idea was today to listen to each other and identify that how we can create a better synergy between different schools also, learn from each other. But from now on, it'll be more specific modules where we will not have all of this discussions. We will straight go on to the training module. So I think almost every day now, we will have one program or the other, and different people will be taking lead. Like Dr. Sridhara has taken a lead. Somebody may take lead on the project filing. Some may come out with writing of a paper. Some may talk about conduction of a classroom in another. So we'll have all HOIs who will be participating. For a definite purpose, we did not involve some extra, somebody, eminent from outside, because that kind of webinars we're already having. So this was more in-house, understanding each other's. We understand our problems. We understand where are our strength points and how to further make it stronger. And I have a clear belief that each of our faculty members are themselves very, very, smart and intelligent, and each one of you can make a difference in your own schools. So with that, let's close it, but we're not closing the Zoom as of now. This is to my IT team, Mr. Sudhanshu and the other Amity team, Vivek, you're here, and Shweta, please help Dr. Sridhara to take the feedback before you close the session. So okay, thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.